Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Mess. So, Derek got a fun, exciting, and mysterious video for you guys today. That is because overnight, a Pokemon Platinum PC port shadow dropped on the internet, and basically a wild Pokemon Platinum PC port has appeared. And I had like 24 messages when I woke up this morning from different people on Twitter and Discord saying, "Did you see the following?" And I had actually seen a few screenshots of a work in progress of this a couple different places on the internet, and a few people had sent them to me, but there really wasn't enough content to talk about the fact that this was in development because it was basically just 3 screenshots. So you were surprised by this release. I had a feeling it was coming, but even I was surprised when I woke up to see it was already out. And that definitely is fun because suddenly all of these recomps and PC ports are blowing up, and suddenly we have more and more all the time, something you didn't even see coming. And Pokemon Platinum is a fun time. It is one of the better games in my opinion, at least I enjoyed it, and it now is on PC and you can play it today. And I'm going to get really in depth on how this works and how it functions, but I will tell you right now, this is going to be something you're going to have to find on your own. There is no link in the description below. But before we get too much further involved, if you can do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, and ring that notification bell. It definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, you got a Patreon link down below as well. And I went through the entire file folder structure looking to see if there was any traces of anything like software emulation underpinning this, and I could not find anything whatsoever that would make me think this is anything other than a legitimate PC port, just in the way it's made. But who made this? I don't even really have a name attached to it. It just shadow dropped on the internet, and that kind of is going to be its own little fun mystery to unravel. But again, knowing how Nintendo can be, it makes sense that people were very quiet about this until it was ready to release and you could basically just go and play it today. Because sometimes saying nothing before launch date is the best course of action, especially when Nintendo is involved. And it's one of those things, obviously we have perfect software emulation of something like Pokemon Platinum, but it is fun to have a PC port, not just to be able to play the game, but now the modability of this game is going to absolutely skyrocket because you do have that native PC port code that you can kind of amend, change, mod, and do whatever you want with. And you know how the Pokemon community is, they're going to absolutely unpack this thing and do some wild things in the next 12 to 18 to even 24 months. And that is why these PC ports are so important. It's not just to get the game playable on another platform, because yes, you are technically correct when you leave the comment saying, well, what was the point of this? We can already play it on software emulation. That is going to be true for basically every single recomp and PC port we see out there, including the recent Twilight Princess PC port Dusklight. Yes, we can emulate it in Dolphin. Yes, you can emulate it in Cemu for Wii U. We have the ability to do that, but now with mods and different custom abilities, that game is just 10 out of 10 more fun to play than on GameCube or even Wii U, and that's what you're going to see with stuff like Pokemon Platinum in the future as well, and all of these other recomps and PC ports. There's going to be features added, there's going to be enhancements added, and mods that are going to basically make it feel about as close to a new game as it can possibly be. And because this is the kind of classic Pokemon structure, and I feel like this series has been a little bit uneven recently with Nintendo and the releases and the overall quality, this is definitely something that fans are going to have a very fun time with, not only today because it is out, but in the future when people absolutely pivot it up. But as far as the actual PC port is concerned, I saw a few graphical glitches. Basically, you'll see one, and I'll point it out when the professor opens up his briefcase to pick the Pokemon out, your starter. But otherwise, it was stable, everything worked perfectly fine, and I had no issues with it. And I did test this basically on an air gap machine because I didn't even know where the release came from, and everything checked out perfectly fine for me. But of course, always do your due diligence when you do test these things out. It is something, if I don't know the source, I have a custom system in place to be able to test these things to make sure everything is on the up and up, and I had no indications otherwise. But I always like to tell you that in videos when it's something I do. It might be something you want to do as well. But as far as everything else is concerned, the graphics, the audio, the control, just feels like playing Pokemon Platinum if it had actually come out on a PC and not just on a handheld. Let's go into the first or 2 soundtrack samples so you can hear what the game sounds like coming out of its native PC port, and I'll come back, show you more gameplay and details, and talk about where I'd love to see this PC port go in the future. And that just sounds like Pokemon Platinum to me, but you leave me a comment down below and you tell me what you think, because basically in every single video I tell you I have two tin ears, and if there is a slight discrepancy or if the audio is slightly off compared to original hardware, even software emulation, it is generally not the thing I would notice, where visual glitches and latency are something I'm going to immediately notice. But so far, the entirety of this gameplay right now has been perfectly fine, both in the presentation as well as in the control. When we actually open up this briefcase in just a moment, you will see one area in which there's basically just a missing texture there for a slight moment in time. And again, I don't even know what release this is. I'm not saying it's 1.0. There's nothing attached to it. This could be the developer or the team of developers, because again, I don't really know on this one. An alpha release at best. But I will say, in my time playing it, there weren't any stability issues. It didn't crash, but of course it is a very long game, so if you want to try to play this from start to finish, I guess just temper your expectations and think to yourself, well, it might not be 100% playable, because trust me, I do not have the time to 100% Pokemon Platinum before I make a video to tell you guys if it is 100% working or not. And because there's no real GitHub for this one, there's no real repository out there to go through, I am flying without a safety net on its overall long-term playability, but that's kind of a fun time as well, just to get these shadow drops of something that you didn't know were coming, and you get to be surprised just the same way I was surprised. Because like I said earlier, I had seen maybe 2 or 3 different screenshots of the in-development process of this. A few people had sent me information, but I kind of thought it might be 6 months to a year until we saw something like this, and there might be a little bit more lead up and a little bit more fanfare into a Pokemon Platinum PC port. And that just wasn't the case whatsoever, because like I said, I went to bed last night, didn't know there was going to be a Pokemon Platinum PC port out, and I woke up and I knew it was going to be the 4 p.m. video for today. And that really is fun, and honestly, getting something like an actual handheld port of a Pokemon game, not something like an N64 recomp or PC port or even GameCube, is a fun time. Because we have the Legend of Zelda Minish Cap PC port, and now we have a Pokemon Platinum one as well, so we're getting more Nintendo handheld ports, and that definitely is a fun time. And yes, I'm aware where the source of some of the source code may have come from this one, and I'm guessing that is probably why the developers are being very quiet and cagey about it, and honestly, I don't really blame them all that much whatsoever. But this kind of stuff is just going to keep happening. Not only the lead up announcements where you see something is coming soon and you get to go through all the previews, but also just these random, suddenly a wild PC port appears and you're just going to be playing it. And honestly, for something like Pokemon Platinum, that is a 10 out of 10 fun time for me. And I may actually spend a couple more hours playing around with this one. Let's have to wait and see how my schedule is, because there's so many different recomps and PC ports to cover. Again, I kind of depend on the community to tell me in comments how far they got and if they encountered any issues. So if you have played this one and you have tested it, leave me a comment down below and tell me how it's going for you. And leave me a comment to tell me if you even knew this thing was going to be coming out at all whatsoever. I would be curious. The second soundtrack sample, and I'll be right back. So yeah, to my ears, that sounds exactly like Pokemon Platinum should sound, but again, I welcome your comments down below, and if you have played around with this one before you watch the video, tell me how it's been going for you as well. And if you haven't heard about this at all, I would love to hear that in the comments, because I'm always curious how far and wide the news travels and how quickly it does, because by the time you watch this, the news will definitely be out there for everyone. And again, as far as helping you guys actually play this one, you are on your own here. It's just one of those things I can't always help with these sort of situations. So you're definitely going to be able to find it on your own if you just know how to use Google. And I'm pretty sure if you found me, you're going to know how to do that yourself. But I always love asking in these videos, if you could snap your fingers and make one Nintendo game show up as a perfect PC port, which one would it be? For the longest time, my answer would have been Twilight Princess, but now we have Dusklight out and Courage Reborn on the way. So even though I know it's not everyone's favorite Mario game in the world, this happens to be mine, I would love to see a perfect PC port of Super Mario Sunshine with all the quality of life improvements, enhancements, and fixes that we see in something like the Twilight Princess PC port with Dusklight. It's one of those things. I've always loved the game and I'd love to play it on PC. But this is definitely fun stuff. Yesterday we didn't have a actual Pokemon Platinum PC port, and today we 100% have it. Where it's going to go in the future, I have no idea. I don't even know who basically made this thing, so it is a really kind of fun video where it is kind of cloak and dagger KG in all the best and most entertaining ways. But short of that, we're done. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.